Hey folks, Mike here. Thanks for tuning in. It's November, so it's metal month at Toontrack. Today I'm going to talk about the drums of Destruction EZX, the latest expansion that Toontrack just released November 1st, so today. We're going to look into the EZX itself, show you some audio examples, talk about like the gear they used, the MIDI pack they used, looking at the drums, and finally give you my opinion if this is worth an upgrade. So stay tuned. So it's November, it's metal month, like for so many years already, and Toontrack already on day one released this new EZX, which is called the Drums of Destruction. I would call it Lamp of God EZX, but I will talk in a minute about the reasons why I think this is like for all the Lamp of God metal fans out there, the perfect expansion packs. Toontrack teamed up with engineer Josh Wilbur and Lamp of God drummer Chris Adler to record this new expansion pack. They recorded in the Hybrid Studios in Orange County, California. And looking at the specs, I mean, Josh Wilbur as an engineer not only won a Grammy for his work, but Josh worked with Lamp of God, with Korn, with Megadeth. Chris Adler, I think no one needs an introduction about Chris, famous, legendary, one of the most sought after and famous metal drummers nowadays. But both of them worked together on several Lamp of God records already. And the studios they recorded in, the Hybrid Studios in California, were just used to record the latest Lamp of God record. Not only and they used the original Lamp of God, Chris Adler's signature drum set. So if everyone out there was doubting if this new expansion pack would hit the needs and the demands for metal drums, you should definitely check this out. So before I go into the EZX in detail, as always, I highly recommend going to Toontrack's website. For every new release of drum libraries, they make this incredible microsite here, providing lots of information, photos, interviews to get all the information you need to know about the single pack. However, I will show you this pack as well. At the end of this video, I will play you some audio examples and of course in between as well. But first of all, as always, I talk about some details. So they recorded basically two different drum sets, which is first and foremost Chris's own drum set. It's the Mapex Versatus. I don't know if I spell it right. But this is really cool because this Mapex drum set was just released by Mapex, I think this year, maybe end of last year. So it's brand new. It's Mapex high top end line of drum shells. And the second kit they sampled is the Per Reference. You see here Per Reference and Mapex, and another Per kick drum here. So two really modern, punchy sounding drum kits. Cymbal-wise, you see there are a lot of cymbals. So every one of you who's liking a lot of cymbals, this is definitely the EZX to check. Not only you have several crashes, you have little splash cymbals, you have bells, you have an auxiliary hi-hat, which is really cool. Another splash on the right side, you have China cymbals. So everything you need for a good rock metal sound, this EZX provides it, which is really, really cool. They even sampled Chris's own signature snare drum, which is this 5.5 by 12 inch Mapex Warbird, his signature snare drum, which he used on quite some records in the past. So this is, as I said, you can call this almost the Lamp of God EZX. But let's talk about the specs here. They sampled a double kick drum setup, which is basically on both sides the same kick. The 16 by 22 Mapex, 18 by 22 Per Reference, and an additional Per Masters kick drum. So let's have a quick listen on them. Snare-wise, they sound fantastic. Clearly, and I will talk about this in the end, this goes for every single sound library. Of course, it's called Drums of Destruction. It's Chris Adler. It's Lamp of God. You know, it's all metal related. But at the end of the day, when you will listen to the sound in a few some audio examples, you will see that this EZX is of course usable for nearly every genre, because the studio they recorded in is clear, it's punchy, it's transparent, and at the end it's just a per reference kit mic'd up by a great engineer and sampled by a great drummer. So of course you can use this drum set for any other genre, but I will talk about this in a few. So 5 different snare drums. This signature snare drum from Chris Adler, another Mapex Black Panther, and another one 6.5 by 14 per reference, and a Fat Gretsch USA custom. Tone-wise, we just have the Mapex and the Pearl. So we go here. So especially this Mapex is huge and fat. It's really really dark and has a great fundamental bass drum, not bass drum, like bass frequency sound to them. It's really fantastic, really deep and dark. A lot of cymbals, as I said. And what I especially like about this is that they sampled especially Meinl cymbals, which is not that common for Toontrack. Usually you have a lot of Zildjian and Sabian stuff, but as Chris is playing Meinl a lot, so they just used the kit that was set up in the studio for the latest Lamb of God record anyway, and just recorded it straight. So you get a lot of, for all you Meinl fans out there, this is pretty much for you. What I like about Meinl cymbals is that they always have a let's say versatile and overall good sound to them. So versatile, you can use them pretty much in most genres. You see, most of the cymbals are not like huge. I mean, for metal and rock, you need like cutting edge cymbals, higher pitched. So usually you use between 14 and 18 inch, which they did here. So no big 20 inch, except for the Chinas here, but not like in some other expansions where you have like big 20, 22 inch crash cymbals. So what can I say? It's great sounding library. So let's have listen to some audio. This is the original mix. And I picked just a little MIDI pack, which this EZX comes with, sampled by Chris Adler himself. So it hardly gets better. So let's have a listen on the original mix. When you go to the mixer, what I think is really cool, you not only have dedicated channels for kick, snare, or the toms, but they set up additional microphones for special cymbals, which is especially in metal and rock. It's not only common, but it's useful because for some effects, and I mean, the drums need to cut through big guitar walls. So it's always good to have special single microphones on like effect cymbals. Otherwise, a little splash sometimes just get lost through a guitar wall. So it's good to have a separate control on some of the individual cymbals here. So let's jump into some of the presets. And as I said, you see LOG, of course, this is a Lamb of God preset. So if you're looking for the exact Lamb of God drum sound, just pick this EZX, pick this preset, and you're ready to go. Let's have a listen. Toontrack provided some of them. Let's check the Against the Ropes. So quickly wait until it's loaded. Here we go. So you hear a lot of reverb going on, but this is what I wanted to tell you. Oh, come on, we want to hear just another one. Let's say the Sin and the Dry, because they sound so incredibly good. Just wait a second until they're loaded, and here we go. When you load the original mix, so no further processing, I mean, like any other EZX expansion, there is some slight processing. Maybe Toontrack one day will release the SDX, the Superior Drummer version of this pack, where they usually offer raw samples. The EZX samples are always, even in this original mix, slightly processed. You hear the snare drums are high-pitched. First and foremost, they are for certain acute and have some compression to cut through. I mean, you need those punchy drums for metal, don't you? But looking at the original mix and just like have a sneak preview on them again. So it's still some reverb going on. So just going like into the, or some room sound. So let's go on into the mixer here, and when I just bring down the ambience quite a bit and we're just listening to the overheads, you will see what I mean, that those are just good recorded drums that work in almost every genre. And to make it more obvious, I will pick, let's say, a MIDI groove from a totally different genre. So let's say we're going into the Roots, which is more of a funk jazz library. So let's pick one of those sets here. So here, as I always tell, don't get fooled by just the name. This is the cool thing about those libraries. They are sampled in so much detail and with so much love. Of course, they are tailor-made for hard rock, heavy metal, speed metal, you name it. But as I always say, at the end of the day, it's just, like in this case, a Mapex and Pearl reference kit mic'd up in a good sounding studio. So pretty much an occasion or like a situation which probably many genres and bands would use and looking for. So don't get fooled by the name. You should grab one of those copies. They sound fantastic, and I especially like the selection of cymbals that you have here. So you don't have to mix and match them between different libraries, which you can, of course, but it's always better to stick with the sound of one library because everything was recorded in the same room. Of course, you can use this EZX as well in Superior Drummer, where you have even more control over the different settings. The bleeding function, mixer section in Superior Drummer. So you should check this out. Again, go to Toontrack website, read all the stuff they mentioned here, look at some pictures. At the end, I wanted to say thank you for Toontrack for providing me this EZX to make this little review. I appreciate that. That was for me for today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Consider to subscribe. Appreciate every reaction from you guys. So talk soon. Bye-bye.